Hi YouTube! In this video I want to show you a so-called mid-range flagship phone that I got from fastcardtech. This phone is called the ZTE Nubia Z9 Mini. It comes in a very stylish black box like this one with some specs on the back that are correct. It comes with a 5V 1500 mAh wall charger. Also included is a very stylish data and charging cable. It also comes with a SIM tray opener. It comes with some sort of quick start guide, which is unfortunately all in Chinese. And last but not least, fastcardtech also included a second screen protector. One is pre-installed on the phone already. This phone has a 5-inch capacitive 10-point multi-touch screen with a 1080 by 1920 Full HD pixel resolution. It is an IPS display, it looks like a one glass solution, and it's also supposed to have a Gorilla Glass. It has the Qualcomm Snapdragon 615 64-bit Octa-Core processor inside, which I believe has 4 cores clocked at 1.5 GHz and 4 cores clocked at 1.1 GHz. It has 2 GB of RAM, 16 GB of internal memory, and it also supports TF cards. Right now it is running on Android 5.02 Lollipop with Nubia UI on top. It is a Quadband, it is totally unlocked, and of course it also supports 3G and 4G/LTE. It has Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, GPS, AGPS, it supports GLONASS and BEIDOU. It has a G sensor, a proximity sensor, light sensor, a magnetic field sensor, a gyroscope sensor, and it also has something called a breathing light home button. It supports USB on the go, it has touch gestures, which I will show you later. It has a built-in 2900 mAh battery. It has 2 cameras, one main camera with a 16 megapixel output, autofocus and LED flash, and it's an f2.0. And one selfie cam with an 8 megapixel output, and it's an f2.4. Of course, this phone is a dual SIM, dual standby phone. It takes 2 nano SIM cards. It weighs about 147 grams and it's about 8.2 mm thick. Let's take a closer look at the device. We have the front-facing camera, proximity and light sensor right here. The home, back and menu buttons are capacitive touch buttons and they do light up very nicely. Now the home button has the so-called breathing light feature, so it can be used as a notification. On the bottom we find a media speaker, a microphone and the USB port. On the left side we can find a SIM tray that holds 2 nano SIM cards. Now I believe the frame is a metal frame, but it's covered in some sort of plastic, probably to give it a little more grip. On the top we have a 3.5mm headphone jack and a secondary microphone. On the right side we have the power button and a volume rocker. On the back we find the main camera and an LED flash. Now the back cover is totally flat, so the camera is not sticking out. The back cover has some sort of texture to it. It looks very nice, but the cover is extremely glossy and it's a real fingerprint magnet, as you can see. We have the Nubia logo right here, and if I can get this open for you, I can show you the inside. On the inside all we can find is the TF card slot and the built-in 2900 mAh battery. Like always, I installed additional apps and games for demonstration purposes. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my channel. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment sections below. And if you'd like to find out more, please stay tuned. The out-of-the-box firmware that was on my phone when I got it was the original Chinese ZTE firmware. It did not support any Google apps, it only supported English and Chinese, and it also had a bunch of Chinese apps installed. Of course this is an absolutely no-go, so I flashed a custom firmware right away. I found a very cool one on neatrom.com, so now it also supports all the Google apps and it's also pre-rooted. Please don't worry about flashing it too much, it really is very easy, and if I can do it, anyone can do it. Anyway, the stock launcher is very fast and very snappy. I couldn't notice any lag at all. It also has a dedicated page only for the camera, which is not a surprise because the camera is definitely one of the highlights of this phone. But let's start by going into the settings. Let's see what we have here. Let's check out about the phone. Right here we can see that it's running on Android 5.02 and it has the Nubia UI right here. We can also find some system updates over here, but I really can't tell you if that's working or not because this is a custom ROM. Let's check out some more settings. Let's check out the languages and input that are on this firmware. Here we have them. Those are not a lot of languages, but it's better than English and Chinese only. Let's go back into the settings. What else do we have here? We have developer options. We can check out the apps. We have all the running apps and all the downloaded apps. We can check out the battery. We have a battery percentage, and we also have a power saving mode, which is very cool. What else do we have here? I guess that pretty much covers the more. Let's go into accounts. Now right here I can only find a Nubia account, which worries me a little because usually you can find the Google accounts also right here. So right now I cannot find my Google account, so I cannot say which Google apps to sync or which not to sync. Let's check out security and privacy. We have some quick settings, unknown sources, all the usual stuff. Let's go into feature. Now feature, we have something called a screen division. So you can split the screen and have multiple apps running on one screen at the same time. What else do we have here? We have a one-handed operation, so you can resize the screen if you want to just operate it with one hand. I really don't use this. I think this is a bullshit feature. We also have something called Smart Face. Now that is a very strange name. I'm guessing this is for a smart cover because it says something like a smart leather switch, auto unlock screen and stuff like that. And we have touch gestures, so we can double tap to wake up the screen. We have some sort of palm screen lock. We have a three fingers snapshot, and we can also take free snapshots right here. We have tri-finger screenshots on, and we also have a tri-finger swipe to swipe between different apps. So these are all the touch gestures that I talked about earlier. What else can we have here? I have a notification center. Right here we can manage all the notifications, and we can also activate and deactivate the breathing light features for different apps, like for the phone and for SMS or whatever you like to be notified for. We have some display settings. We have again the breathing light right here. It has an auto brightness, but we can also adjust the brightness of the breathing light button right here. I don't know if you can see that. What else do we have here? We can of course adjust the brightness to automatic brightness and stuff like that. And we also have a pocket mode. And I wanted to show you something. Where do I find that? Maybe in the brightness setting? No, not there. I wanted to show you that you can change the display preference right here. Of course we can change between glow, standard and soft, and we can also change to a cool tone, to a natural tone and a warm tone, which is very cool. Let's see anything else right here. I guess of course we also have the dual SIM settings. I don't have any SIM cards in it right now, so I can show you anything. I guess that pretty much covers the settings. Next up, let's try some Google apps. Now with the new custom firmware, the Google Play Store is working just fine and no problem at all. We can also test Google Maps. Google knows where I live, so the Google location services are working. Let's check out a Street View. Street View is working just fine. We can do a little zooming, and we also can switch into a compass mode. So the magnetic field sensor, and in this case also the gyroscope sensors, are working very well. Next up, let's try YouTube. Let me turn down the volume. Let me just play a random video, and let me go into the settings, and let's check out the quality. And as we can see, we can play back YouTube videos up to 1080p. course, we can also watch in full screen, and YouTube is running very smoothly. So YouTube is a real pleasure, like always. That should pretty much cover the Google apps. Let's see what Antutu has to say. It's initializing. Let me go into my history, and we can see that it scored at around 36,000 points, which is a very good mid-range result, I guess. Let's go into the info. Right here we can see that it's running on Android 5.02 and it's a 64-bit system. We have the Qualcomm Snapdragon and the Adreno 405, full HD resolution, 16 megapixel camera. We have 2 GB of RAM. We have the display right here again, 5-inch. It also says material CGS, which means Corning Gorilla Glass. We have the cameras, 16 and 8 megapixel. And we have the weight, and it's a bar phone, and when I scroll all the way down we can see all the sensors, but of course I'm gonna test the sensors separately. Let's get out of there and let's test some sensors. Join new and go back. Of course we have the accelerometer, also known as the G sensor. We have a light sensor, let's give that a try, and the light sensor is also working fine. We have an orientation sensor. We have the proximity sensor, also working just fine. We have a gyroscope sensor, which I'm going to show you again with a different app. We have a sound sensor. We're getting something from this microphone, and we're also getting something from the secondary microphone, so 2 microphones are working. We also have the magnetic field sensor, and it's getting readings. But let's get out of there and let's test the magnetic field sensor again with a Compass app. I really can't say how accurate it is, but I believe it's very accurate. So the magnetic field sensor is also working just fine. I can also show you the gyroscope 3D wallpaper. Now this wallpaper only works if you have a gyroscope sensor in this phone, so the gyroscope sensor is definitely working just fine. What else do we have here? We can compare the Wi-Fi signal strength to my Xiaomi Mi 4, and as you can see it has a very good Wi-Fi reception. So I'm very pleased with the Wi-Fi reception on this phone. I can also show you a flashlight. Of course you won't be able to see much, but the LED flash is actually okay, and I really like the colors that it produces. Let's get out of there. Let's see what else do we have here. Let's go into CPU-Z. Right here you can see that it's clocked at 1.5 GHz on 4 cores, and the other 4 cores are clocked at 1.1 GHz. Now I read a couple of times that it's only clocked at 1.0 GHz, but I think it's 1.1 GHz. And let's go into the sensors, and again we have all the sensors right here. Proximity sensor, and we also have a whole device sensor. I don't know if that's working because I don't have a smart cover for this phone. Let's get out of there. What else can we show? Let's see. Let me clear some memory. And oh yeah, by the way, this firmware has a little Easter egg built in. Now when I tap the screen several times it looks like it breaks. Now that is very funny or not. I have no idea if ZTE is responsible for that or the author of the custom ROM. I really don't know what to think about that. Anyway, let me clear some memory and let me first run Nina Mark II. I'm not gonna run it, I'm just gonna show you the result. It scored at 59.1 frames per second, which is very nice. And now let's run Quadron standard. Let's do a full benchmark test, and like always I'm gonna do a jump cut. Almost done. And the score is 17,107 points, which is not bad at all. I guess that pretty much covers all the benchmarks. What else can I show you? Let me go into the gallery. Now it has its own little gallery app right here. Let me just go into wallpapers, and the pictures are loading fast. Let me just flick through some of the pictures, and I don't know if you can see this, but the colors and brightness and contrast and viewing angles are very good on this phone, and the black is really black. If you can see this, I don't know. Let's get out of there and let's go into my video folders. And I do not have all the videos installed that I wanted to show you. Let's see, do I have them somewhere else? We have some tools right here. We have an FM radio and a calculator, nothing special. And let's see, what do we have here? Also nothing special. Let's go into videos and let's play a 1080p sample video. Now 1080p playback, I'm sorry, is not a problem at all. It's running very smoothly, but I also tested a 4K video and it was not running. Let's get out of there. Next up, let me show you the media speaker. Let me go into my music player and let me play a song I have the license for. Let me turn up the volume. I think that sounds pretty decent, but as you can see, you can easily cover the speaker, like when you're doing some gaming or whatever, the speakers will be covered, but if you put it on the table, you can still hear the speaker very well. So I don't know if it's good, if the position is right there or not. That is something you need to judge for yourself. We also have some themes. Now this reminds me a little bit of the Xiaomi theme shop, but it's definitely not as customizable as the Xiaomi, but you can download some themes and you can also choose your local themes. Let's see which ones do we have here. Let me go into more and let me just start a different theme. Let me apply the theme. It will take a second to apply. So now our phone has a new theme. Like it or not, but it's definitely working. Anything else I can show you right here? Let me go into the camera. Now the camera is very cool. It is very easy to use. It has a bunch of special effects. Let me just go into special effects. We have a warm picture or a country mode and all the stuff we find on other phones as well. But what else do we have here? Let me go back and let me go into normal mode and let me go into the settings. Of course we have an HDR modus and stuff like that, and we also have a speed camera trigger. So when the phone is off, you can just press a volume button and it will automatically take a picture right away. And the camera has a really fast autofocus. I don't know if I can demonstrate that here, but it's really focusing extremely fast. Now that is definitely in a high range premium device range. The autofocus is very fast on this phone. And we can also switch into a pro mode if we want to change some settings, like the exposure, for example, or the white balance. So there are a lot of possibilities with this camera. I really like the camera a lot. Please make sure to check out some sample pictures on my blog. And last but not least, first let me go into the browser. Let me go into my bookmark history and let's just load the BBC homepage. It will take a while to load. I'm loading the desktop page to show you that this phone can also easily handle larger websites. Now zooming is very fast and very smooth. Scrolling not a problem at all. So browsing on this phone is definitely a real pleasure. And last but not least, we can also test the USB on the go feature. Let me hook up my USB thumb drive. And let me go into my file manager, and let's go into storage. And right here we can see that it found my external storage. Now this is my thumb drive, so USB on the go is working just fine. Let me just load a wallpaper. This is from my thumb drive, so USB on the go, no problem at all. Anyway, now let me tell you what I'm thinking about this phone. Some thoughts about this device. The build quality is very good. It really feels like a premium device. The display is very good. Great colors, contrast, brightness, viewing angles. The whites are white, the blacks are black. It definitely is a high-end display. The performance is good, no world record performance, but a 36K score on Antutu is definitely a very good mid-range score. The Wi-Fi reception is very good. The GSM 3G and 4G reception is good. The call sound quality is very good from what I can tell, but I have to be honest here, I only tested it very briefly. I don't have a nano SIM card, let alone two. I had to borrow one from a friend. The GPS is fast, it has a very good reception strength, a very good accuracy, and thanks to GLONASS it is very stable, not jumpy at all, so GPS should not be a problem at all. I like the media speaker. Of course there are always better ones out there, but I really can't complain. It even produces a little bass. I also like the cameras a lot. Please make sure to check out some sample pictures on my blog. You can find a link in the video's description. The LED flash is good. I like that the colors are very natural. It's not just a bright white. The battery seems to be holding the charge very well. Some obvious cons are the built-in battery. I'm not a big fan of nano SIM cards. There is no notification LED, but it does have the breathing light home button, but of course it only supports one color. There is no LTE band 20 support, and at least in my case the original out-of-the-box firmware did not support any Google apps, so I had to flash the phone. Bottom line, this definitely is a very good mid-range flagship device. It could be a real competitor to the Xiaomi Mi 4i. Last but not least, let me try to show you the viewing angles and do a little gaming. Thank you so much for watching and hope to see you again.